You're lying in a tent in bear country, snoring like a chainsaw, and statistically, you're safer than the granola bar in your backpack, which is insane. You are a soft, slow, hairless meat tube with no claws, no fangs, and the night vision of a confused toddler. So why don't the things with teeth come for you in the dark? The answer starts with a number that should not be true. Across more than 2 decades of data, fatal predator attacks on sleeping humans in North America hover near 0 per year. What? Not low, near 0. The most dangerous animals on the continent are watching you breathe and choosing to leave. That choice is the whole story. Because for almost every other prey animal on Earth, sleep is the moment a predator has been waiting for all day. A sleeping deer is a dead deer. A sleeping zebra is lunch. But a sleeping human is, weirdly, a problem the predator would rather walk around. And the reason isn't that you smell bad, although you do. The reason is that your species spent roughly 2 million years teaching every large carnivore on the planet a single brutal lesson. The upright pink ones are not worth it. Start with the math the predator is running. A mountain lion needs roughly 8 to 10 pounds of meat a day to stay alive, and every hunt costs calories, risk of injury, and time. Biologists call this the energetics of predation, and it's ruthless bookkeeping. A mule deer is a known quantity. It runs, it tires, it dies. A human is an unknown quantity that might be alone, might be one of 40, might be holding something that makes a loud bang, and historically has a nasty habit of coming back the next day with friends. The ledger doesn't balance. Here's where it gets specific. In 2019, ecologists Liana Zanet and Michael Clinchy ran a now-famous experiment in South Africa's Greater Kruger region. At waterholes used by leopards, lions, hyenas, and elephants, they hid speakers and played 4 sounds: birds, dogs, lions, and human voices just talking, no shouting. The human voices terrified the animals more than the lions did, not by a little. Lions are the apex predator of that landscape. They are the thing that eats the things that eat everything else. And the soundtrack that emptied the waterhole fastest was a couple of people murmuring in conversation. The researchers called it the fear of the human superpredator, and it has now been replicated on 6 continents. Sit with that. The most feared sound in the African bush is your voice asking if there's signal. So why are you specifically off the menu while you sleep? Because the predator doesn't know you're sleeping. It knows you're a human, and the category human has been catastrophic to its ancestors. Wolves learned this. Bears learned this. Lions learned this. The knowledge is older than agriculture, older than language, possibly older than our species in its current form. It's encoded in their behavior the way fear of snakes is encoded in yours. You inherited a flinch. They inherited a pause. That pause is doing enormous work. A 2017 study by Justin Sarasi showed that in California's Santa Cruz Mountains, just playing recordings of human voices through speakers cut mountain lion feeding time at their own kills by half. The cats abandoned food they had already killed and dragged into the brush. Food that they had earned, because they thought a human was nearby. Biologist Chris Darramont has documented the same pattern globally and given it a name. Humans behave as a super predator, killing adult prey at rates 4 to 9 times higher than other carnivores, and every species in our reach has internalized this. Now layer in something stranger. You are weirdly hard to kill on purpose. Other prey animals have 1 or 2 defenses: speed, antlers, armor, numbers. You have a portfolio. You stand upright, which makes you look bigger and more confusing than you are. You sweat from nearly your entire body, which means you can chase a predator's prey for hours in heat that would kill the predator first. This is the endurance running hypothesis, and it's the reason persistence hunting still works in parts of the Kalahari today. You throw things accurately, an ability so rare that no other animal on Earth comes close to your aim, and, the detail people forget, you travel in groups that talk, constantly. Wolves coordinate, lions coordinate, but no pack on Earth has the bandwidth of a human conversation around a fire. Then there's the fire itself. Roughly 400,000 years ago, your ancestors started keeping it lit overnight. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham has argued that the controlled use of fire fundamentally reshuffled the predator-prey relationship for our lineage. Not because fire kills predators, but because it broadcasts presence. A flicker through the trees says, "Humans here, awake or not, and there will be more in the morning." Every generation of predator that ignored that signal got selected out. Every generation that respected it got to pass on its genes. We didn't just learn to use fire, we trained the carnivores of the world to read it. You can feel the objection forming. Hold on. Predators do kill sleeping humans, tigers in the Sundarbans, the occasional black bear in a campground, the leopards of Rudraprayag, all true. But look at the pattern. Almost every documented case of a predator attacking a sleeping person involves an animal that is starving, injured, displaced from its normal range, or has learned that humans equal garbage, which means it has stopped categorizing us as humans and started categorizing us as a vending machine. Healthy predators in intact ecosystems with normal prey available leave sleeping people alone at rates that should not statistically make sense, and don't until you account for 2 million years of evolutionary memory. There's something else, and it's the part that's easy to miss. You smell wrong. Not bad, although again, you do. You smell unfamiliar in a very specific way. Wild predators imprint on the scent of their normal prey when they're young. Deer smell like food. Rabbits smell like food. Humans smell like a species that, in the predator's evolutionary memory, has been associated with sudden, inexplicable death. Carnivore biologists working with wolves and cougars have repeatedly noted that even captive-raised predators show neophobia, fear of the new, toward human scent. The brain that should be calculating prey is instead calculating category error, abort. Even the way you sleep is strange to them. You sleep deeply, for long blocks, often on your back, often making noise. Most prey animals sleep in fragments, minutes at a time, ears swiveling, ready to bolt. A predator's hunting instinct is partly tuned to micro-movements, to the twitch of a flank, the flick of an ear. You lie there like a corpse that snores. To a confused mountain lion, you don't read as prey. You read as something already wrong. And here is the dark turn this story has to take. The reason large predators avoid you is not because you are admirable, it is because your ancestors were so successful at killing them that the survivors are the ones who learned, in their bodies, to fear your shape. We are not living alongside these animals in some peaceful equilibrium. We are living inside the long shadow of a slaughter. Wolves were driven to near extinction across most of their range. Bears were hunted out of entire countries. Lions have lost over 90% of their historical territory, and tigers more than 95%. The fear of the human super predator that keeps you safe in your sleeping bag is the inherited grief of every predator lineage we hollowed out. Their caution is a wound. You are sleeping soundly in a world your species emptied to make it safe. And yet, and this is where the closing turn lives, that ancient verdict is also a kind of inheritance you carry on their behalf. The wolf that walks around your tent tonight is the descendant of a wolf that decided 100,000 years ago that the upright ones were not food. Your safety is a treaty signed in the dark by animals you will never see, against humans you will never meet. So when you crawl into your sleeping bag in the middle of a forest and zip yourself into a fabric the thickness of a t-shirt, you are not really protected by the tent. You are protected by a million campfires that burned before you were born, by every spear that ever flew straight, by every grandmother who taught a child to listen for a snapping branch. The pause the predator takes at the edge of your camp. That pause is the only thing between you and the teeth. And it was paid for in full a long time ago by people whose names no one remembers. Sleep well. They earned it.